It was just an ordinary Tuesday afternoon at a quiet diner in Ohio. Rain tapped gently on the glass windows and the smell of fresh coffee filled the air. But within minutes, that peaceful scene would turn into something unforgettable, a moment that would test courage, compassion, and the simple, human power of kindness. A single dad named Mark was just trying to enjoy a late lunch with his little daughter. He never imagined that sitting at the wrong table that day would change not only his life, but also the life of a complete stranger. Before we dive in, if you believe the world needs more kindness, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Whispers of Goodness. Hit the like button, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and tell us in the comments what kindness means to you. Now, let's get into the story. Mark Reynolds was a 38-year-old single father living in a small town outside Columbus, Ohio. He worked long hours at an auto repair shop, trying to give his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, the best life he could. Money was tight, but his heart was full. Every Saturday, no matter how exhausted he and Lily had a tradition: pancake lunch. They'd go to their favorite little diner called Daisy's Corner Cafe, sit by the window, and talk about everything, from her favorite cartoons to what she wanted to be when she grew up. But this Tuesday was different. Mark had swapped shifts at work and decided to surprise Lily with pancakes on a weekday. He thought it'd be a nice treat, just something small to make her smile before her big spelling test. The diner was half full when they arrived. Mark spotted an empty booth near the back. It had a little vase with fake sunflowers and a cracked salt shaker. Perfect, he thought. They slid into the booth, ordered their usual, and began playing I Spy while waiting for the food. That's when 3 men walked in. They were loud, the kind of loud that turns heads. Dressed in matching leather jackets, tattoos peeking out of their sleeves, they looked like they owned the place. The waitress, a young woman named Emma, looked uneasy when she saw them. They scanned the diner, then one of them, tall with a scar across his cheek, glared at Mark. "You're at our table," he said, his voice sharp like gravel. Mark blinked. "Oh, sorry, we didn't know. There's no sign or anything." "Yeah, well," the man sneered, "you know now." Lily's small hand squeezed Mark's. She whispered, "Daddy, can we just move?" Mark looked at her, her big, scared eyes, then back at the men. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't brave in the movie hero kind of way. But he knew one thing. He didn't want his daughter to think it was okay to let people bully others. He stood slowly. "Listen, man, we'll be done in 10 minutes. You can have the table after that. Sound fair?" The tall man stepped closer. "I said move now." The diner went silent. Forks paused mid-air. The waitress froze behind the counter. Then, from another booth near the door, an older man's voice spoke up. "Hey," he said firmly, "how about you gentlemen leave the kid alone?" The 3 turned their heads. The man who spoke looked to be in his 60s. Gray hair, glasses, plaid shirt, and a calm but steady look in his eyes. "Mind your business, old man," one of them barked. But the old man didn't back down. "I am. My business is sitting here, trying to finish my lunch without watching a bunch of grown men threaten a dad and his kid." Who for a moment, everyone held their breath. Mark felt torn. He didn't want anyone else getting hurt because of him. He motioned for Lily to stay seated and started to say something. But before he could, the scarred man turned his anger toward the older stranger. "You really want to do this?" he said. The old man looked him straight in the eye. "No, I want you to stop." It all happened fast. The man shoved the old guy's shoulder, and his plate clattered to the floor. That was enough for Mark. He stepped forward, heart pounding, and grabbed the man's wrist. "That's enough! She's a kid, and he's just trying to eat. Sit down or leave." It wasn't loud, but it was strong. For a second, the man looked shocked, like no one had ever stood up to him before. Then, slowly, he smirked, muttered something under his breath, and motioned for his buddies. "Let's go." Not worth it. The door slammed behind them, and the diner finally exhaled. Emma, the waitress, rushed over to thank Mark and the older man. Lily jumped into her dad's arms, whispering, "You were so brave, Daddy." Mark smiled, though his hands still trembled. "I just did what anyone should do, sweetheart." The older man smiled softly. "Not everyone would have," he said. They chatted for a few minutes. The man introduced himself as Mr. Thompson, a retired history teacher who came to the diner every Tuesday. He thanked Mark again, insisting on paying for their meal. Mark refused, but Mr. Thompson was stubborn in the kindest way. consider it a thank you," he said, "for reminding me that decency isn't dead." They shook hands, and that might have been the end of it. Just a small act of courage on an ordinary day. But a week later, everything changed. Mark was at work when his phone buzzed. It was a call from the diner. Emma, the waitress, sounded breathless. "Mark, you're not going to believe this," she said. "Remember Mr. Thompson, the man from that day?" "Of course," Mark said. "Hi, is he okay?" "Oh, he's more than okay," she laughed. "He's the owner of Daisy's Corner Cafe. He just never tells anyone. Likes to sit among customers, see how they're treated. He came in today, said you and Lily are to have free meals for life. On him." Mark was stunned. "What? No. We can't accept that." But Emma just smiled through the phone. He insisted, said good people deserve to be fed. That weekend, Mark and Lily went back to the diner. Mr. Thompson was there sitting in his usual booth. He waved them over. "Didn't think I'd see you again," Mark said.
"Oh,
"I knew you'd be back," Mr. Thompson replied with a grin. "This little one still likes pancakes, right?" Lily nodded eagerly. They laughed and talked for over an hour. Mr. Thompson told stories from his teaching days about kindness, respect, and how he'd spent decades trying to teach his students to stand up for what's right. "Most people think kindness means being nice," he said quietly, "but sometimes it means being brave. It means doing what's right even when your voice shakes." Mark never forgot those words. Weeks passed, and life went on, but the story of that day spread, first among the diner's staff, then throughout the town. A local paper even ran a small piece titled, "Single Dad Defends Stranger," and learns the stranger owned the diner. People started stopping by Daisy's Corner just to say hello. The diner became a little brighter, a little warmer. The staff said customers began leaving bigger tips, helping strangers, and even paying for others' meals, for Mark and Lily. And Mark noticed something in Lily too. One afternoon, she came home from school and said, "Daddy, a boy in my class was crying because some kids made fun of his clothes, so I sat with him at lunch." Mark smiled. "That's my girl," he said, hugging her tight. Months later, on a chilly December morning, Mark found a small envelope taped to his door. Inside was a Christmas card from Mr. Thompson. It read, "To Mark and Lily, thank you for reminding me that kindness still has defenders. The world needs more of them. Keep shining. Your friend Mr. T." Mark pinned that card to the fridge, right next to Lily's drawings. Every time he saw it, he felt grateful, not just for that day, but for what it taught him. That kindness isn't always soft or quiet. Sometimes it's standing up, speaking out, or simply refusing to walk away when someone needs help. In a world that often feels divided, one small act of courage can ripple farther than we ever imagine. A single dad stood up for what was right, and in doing so, reminded a whole town what kindness really looks like. Maybe you and I can do the same, in our own small ways. Hold the door for someone. Speak up for a stranger. Smile at the cashier who's had a long day. Because you never know who's watching, or how deeply your kindness might change someone's life. Thanks for watching this story on Whispers of Goodness. If it touched your heart, please share it. And let's keep spreading those whispers of goodness, one act of kindness at a time.